I'm only speaking to benevolent beings. So in this recording, there's been, let's just say it's hasn't been a good few days. And I'm sure benevolent beings out there, if you're targeted, you know what I mean. I can say based on their fuckery and their attempted forced harm, that they are in massive fear. I know sometimes it's hard to recognize that and remember that in moments when one is being attacked. But that is what that is. When the fuckery is that bad, then they're in massive fear. So I think in my last recording that I spoke of, or I've asked beings, benevolent beings, to be asking their questions to universal laws. I think that that has had an effect. Now, I don't know how many benevolent beings listen to my channel and how many actually try and utilize universal laws, but I think that some have. It seems like there has been an effect. They seem even more frenzied and freaked out than they normally are. So I think it is helping our side. And I think it would, at this point, I think it would be helpful if benevolent beings start to really try to envision universal laws being enforced here. Meaning, envisioning a force moving through this planet, eliminating, incinerating all the malevolence. Like all of a sudden, the malevolence is getting their shit back. All at once. Envision seeing malevolent entities just burn where they stand, right? Like we have to be, I think it would be helpful to our side, especially since we know that one way or another, universal laws is going to be enforced here. They're either going to shut off the fence because they don't want to trigger universal laws all at once, or they're gonna just be even more stupid than what they are normally, and it's just gonna trigger universal laws. So shutting off the fence, that exposes this planet to universal laws and universal law enforcement. It also shuts off the artificial frequency grid, the overlay, and all of a sudden people start feeling the organic, energetic field. And all of a sudden the brain fog goes away, and all of a sudden they're a lot more fucking clear about things. There's not all the artificial overlay of lies, cons, and deceptions being constantly bombarded onto the energetic field, right? So to shut off the fence so they don't want to risk triggering universal laws, it still exposes everything to universal law enforcement at that point. If they don't shut it off, then they risk, because basically they're not really seemingly, they're not seeming to be stopping their fuckery in their forced nastiness on humanity. They don't really seem too interested in stopping all that. So the longer that they continue, the more they risk waking more people up. And they risk more people becoming enraged and fucking screaming. And then, of course, what that does is that it's a frequency, it's a vibration. And the more people that are resonating that fucking frequency of screaming and they got to get the fuck out of here and the shit here is wrong and it needs to be fixed, and more beings are fucking screaming, right? That's a frequency. So the more fuckery that they do, the more they risk more beings holding that frequency, which will then trigger full universal law enforcement. It's like a certain percentage, right? Like the 100th monkey effect, when you have a certain percentage of beings resonating a certain frequency, and then all of a sudden, that next person, it tips the fucking scales, and then all of a sudden, it's the whole planet that's resonating that frequency, right? So I'm sure that makes sense to benevolent beings out there. So they risk shutting it off, and they risk not shutting it off. Okay, so I think we should really be doing our best to be helping getting universal laws enforced here. So envisioning universal law enforcement everywhere on this planet would be, it's not going to hurt anything. That's for sure. It's not going to be, it's going to be to our benefit. So envisioning malevolence or entities and evil, if you want to call them people, they're not people, but if you want to call evil people all of a sudden getting their shit back all at once. Malevolent entities burning where they stand. Smelling sulfur all over the planet, right? Hopefully you can see what I'm saying there. So envisioning full, complete, and total universal law enforcement on this planet everywhere is something that we should be, if you can manage it, actively doing. That's only going to help our side, and because at some point universal laws will be enforced here. Let's go ahead and help it along, right? Let's go ahead and try and get that rolling. Yeah, get that going, because the faster we can, the more that we can assist in the enforcement of organic natural law, enforcement of universal laws here, the faster we can get rid of all the malevolence. And then the rest of us, all benevolent beings, can then experience an existence that you've probably have been missing your entire life, and probably many lifetimes. An existence of, if there's anything left of this planet, that is. Because once universal laws is enforced fully on this planet, as I've stated before, you are going to see some things you've never seen before at a speed you do not recognize. So let's hope there's something left of the planet because there's a backlog. Hopefully that is understood by benevolent beings, that these bitches have been obstructing universal law correction and enforcement here for so long that the backlog of universal law enforcement is so massive that when it's going to be like a dam that breaks. So just be aware of that. Yeah, just be cognizant of that, and you should be okay. But once that enforcement happens and the malevolence is removed, it's going to be a whole different planet. It's going to be a whole different vibe, a whole different energy. I don't know if universal laws is going to terminate the AI system, or if that's going to be something that beings here have to actually do. I'm not sure. But the AI system actually absolutely needs to be fucking shut off and terminated. We do not need technology. Yes, there are perks to it. I think there should be a discussion, actually, of how, once universal law enforcement happens here, if there isn't any tech, if there's any tech that isn't destroyed, I think there has to be an actual discussion among many people, all the benevolent beings here, as to, number one, whether there should be technology here, and number two, what technology would we be keeping, and for what purpose? Because the AI is ancient, it's a technological parasite, and it seems to be a vacuum for malevolent entities. They gravitate to it like flypaper, right? So I think it's going to be extremely important to be having that conversation at that point, but we'll worry about that when, after universal law enforcement here. But personally, because our vessels are the in quotes technology, we can do anything with our own vehicles, with our own vessels, that one would can think of. Travel, manifest, create, right? Like all of that can be done with our vessels. It's just a matter of learning, and it's a matter of activating those abilities and skills within our beings. But all of that can be done organically with our vessels, and technology is not needed for any of that. So personally, I don't. I think it should be terminated and absolutely vaporized and permanently removed from this planet. And yeah, but that was my that is my intent for this recording, is to be envisioning total universal law enforcement, and maybe we, in those of us who are actively doing that, we might even be able to initiate universal law enforcement quicker here by doing that. Kind of like a prayer group. When you have a group of people praying about the same thing, holding the same frequency and vibration and resonance, they can make all, whatever healing that they are trying to accomplish for that one being is usually accomplished. And that person is gets a lot better quicker. Or is, and could even be totally healed by, you know, having a prayer group, you know, let's just say assisting that being in healing. And I have to word it all that way. So that's the analogy or the example. And so hopefully, I'm hoping you all are remaining strong and standing your ground, and having a lot better time at protecting and defending yourselves, and that you are able to use tools that you found. And I'll go ahead and wrap this up, and hope that you continue to stay strong. And know that benevolent beings, that you are powerful, and can accomplish great things, and to always trust in yourselves, have faith in yourselves, believe in yourselves, and know yourselves well. And definitely always be committing to memory your the frequencies and emotions of your true being, that those frequencies that you feel at home in, and the emotions and feelings that go with, that accompany that frequency, and be holding those as much and as often as you can, because they are really the fuckery that they are doing. They shouldn't be. And you know, we have to do whatever it is that we can right now to be ending the fuckery and the malevolence and the horror and the atrocity and all the things that they've been trying to force on humanity for so long. So just continue to do the best that you can, and know yourselves well. And if you can manage it, please be envisioning the full enforcement of universal law manifested correction on this planet, everywhere, permanently. All right, till next time.